Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, doing another Innistrad 8-4 draft. Dark Ascension is not online yet, unfortunately, but I'd still like to do maybe one or two more, some Innistrad, triple Innistrad drafts before Dark Ascension comes out. Okay, so we open Brimstone Volley, and I'm going to try not to draft 4-color junk again, like last time. So Brimstone Volley, I think I'm just gonna pick Brimstone Volley. It's the safest pick. Doesn't commit me to anything. Huge power level. Yeah. What am I hoping to wheel? I mean, High and Rare Watchkeep would be ideal. Not sure that's gonna happen, but you never know. You never know. So Brimstone Volley it is. Off to a good start. Okay, so what to follow up the Brimstone Volley with? Let's see. I think in terms of power level, we're pretty much just looking at deadweight, looking at the most powerful card here. Obviously, it does not keep me on red, but the nice thing about Brimstone Volley is very easily splashable. And I mean, black-red is a archetype that I've done before. It's I think it gets less and less credit as this has gone on, just because it has an inherent weakness to cards like Gnaw to the Bone in the Spider Spawning deck. Makes it significantly weaker. I have no problem picking a deadweight here. It's definitely I'm pretty sure it's like easily the best card in this pack here, considering its removal, cheap removal. Good cheap removal, and there's just nothing else phenomenal in here. Voiceless Spirit's fine, and Burning Vengeance is interesting, but we're going to pick a deadweight, and I'm perfectly content with that. Okay, so third pick. What do we pick here? Okay, so power level of cards that are on color. Pitchburn Devils is what I've got my eye on here. Curse of Stalkprey, I think I saw on Draft Magic how they said, I think a lot of those guys were saying this is like a turd card, but I don't think I mind this card too much. I can see this being cool with some other cards, but I'm fine with picking Pitchburn Devils. I like Pitchburn Devils a lot. If you get a Skursdag Cultist or two, or some other sack outlets, Disciple of Grizzlebrand or something, I can see this being real good. So I do think Pitchburn Devils is better than the Nightbird's Clutches here. And other than that, there's not a whole lot of other interesting picks for us. It's really Devils, Clutches, Curse, or Patrol. And I like Devils the most here. Good creature. Okay, so what to pick now? Victim of Night, pretty much would have got my eye on. I could just go ahead and slam another Pitchburn Devils, but I'm pretty sure I'm happy with a Victim of Night. There's nothing wrong with Victim of Night. It's a good card, and this will add to our arsenal of good black-red weapons. Only got one creature so far, but we're only on 4th pick, so that's not an immediate concern of mine. And getting all this sick removal is something that I really like doing early. Picking all this early removal really allows me to get better creatures in other packs earlier. You know, if I can get my removal established early, it allows me to pick better creatures later. I believe so. I'm fine with getting a Victim of Night and a red-black route. You know, not necessarily the route I wanted to go down, but a route I'm not afraid to go down at all. So here, I believe the Kessig Wolf is going to be better than the Walking Corpse, and not a whole lot of other interesting picks in here. For us, especially, nothing too phenomenal. I mean, we've got the Walking Corpse, Kessig Wolf are really the only two options for us. Gnaw to the Bone is annoying to go against, especially since I just got done talking about how annoying that's to go up against with a deck like this, but it's way too early to start hating stuff out, and Kessig Wolf is actually a card I have no problem playing with. So, yeah. Okay. I think pretty clear Ashmouth Hound is going to be the pick here. I mean, at this point, we're just straight up going down the red-black route, it appears. I'm going to stay content with that. Good white picks in here. Doom Traveler and Gallows Warden are both very solid white picks, and Armored Scab and Stitcher's Apprentice are both respected blue picks for Innistrad. So I can see that being trouble, but Ashmouth Hound I have no problem picking. Very good card for this archetype. Alright, so Feral Ridgewolf or Village Ironsmith. Red-black aggro is typically playing spells every turn, which makes Village Ironsmith a little weaker, but for that same reason, Feral Ridgewolf becomes a little bit weaker too, because I'm not going to have a lot of opportunities to pump this full of mana if I'm playing spells every turn. Village Ironsmith is also a little bit cheaper. Yeah, I think we're just going to pick the Ironsmith here, get a 2-drop. Okay, well, here, what is this, a 5, 6, 7, 8th pick into the Maw of Hell. Now that, I was not anticipating that. I would assume that's pretty rare that you would get an 8th pick into the Maw of Hell. We're easily picking that. That's just an amazing spell. So, okay, here we're picking Crossway Vampire, which is almost like a staple of this archetype, and a very good staple of this archetype. So I have no problem picking a Crossway Vampire and continuing down this route. We can pick up a second Village Ironsmith. I think that's okay. I think Curse of the Nightly Hunt is actually a good sideboard option that our deck would very much enjoy. Being able to make their Armored Scabs attack into us, and they're good blockers, Fortress Crabs and stuff. I can just see that being good. This might even be main deckable if I don't have enough of something. Maybe I should pick the Skeletal Grimace here. Probably not going to play it, but I can see that possibly being useful. I suppose it's more likely that I would play a Vampiric Fury than a Graveyard Shovel. And Gruesome Deformity. Well, I've got all the auras I'm going to need on lockdown, so. Okay, let's hide this. That was a great pack one. I'm very, very pleased with that pack one. We got solid removal spell. We have plenty of solid removal spells and pretty good red-black creatures. So I'm pretty pleased with what I got out of that pack. Here we're just going to go with the removal. When in doubt, always pick removal. Victim of Night, we're going to hope to wheel this Crossway Vampire. Other than that, nothing too interesting. I suppose it's possible I would play a Rotting Fen Snake in a Tempo deck like this. But until then, Victim of Night is a very good card, and one that that I have no problem picking. Alright, so we got a good follow-up pick here. We're gonna pick the Cultist, which goes very nicely with our Pitchburn Devils, and hopefully we can pick up some other cards that work well with Cultist in red or black. I'm trying to think of some right now. It'll come to me. I'm sure there's plenty. If I see it, I'll know it. Clifftop Retreat is interesting as well, but just not even nearly on the same power level as just picking up a Cultist now. This card's amazing. Getting morbid activations while dealing damage. This card can really take over games. Alright, and a sweet follow-up pick to this Cultist. Ooh, actually this is a little bit tougher for me now. I was going to say just slam the Traitorous Blood, but the Interloper is a very, very good card for red-black aggro. Evasive, 2 power. Wow, okay, this is a little bit more difficult for me now. So the question is, do I want the Cool Trick or the Interloper? Honestly, the Traitor's Blood works remarkably well with our Skursdag Cultist, but I think that Interloper, just overall for our deck, is going to be more of a necessity. We have the removal on lockdown, so I think now we need to be picking up good creatures to support our deck better. So for that reason, I am going to pick the Interloper here over the Traitor's Blood. I would really like to pick up a Traitor's Blood or two for this deck, but for now, let's just get our early creatures and removal all nice and tidy for us. I think I'm fine with picking another Kestig Wolf. Just 3 power creatures when you have this much removal are just very good, and the fact that it gets first strike, it's obviously weak against Geist Flame, but Kestig Wolf is a card that is just like a necessity for this style of deck. Typhoid Rats is fine. I definitely don't want too many more of these Ironsmiths. I think I'm perfectly content with 2 of them. Typhoid Rats is fine for this deck too, but Kessig Wolf I think is more of the style of card we're looking for. Just higher power sort of creatures. Here we're pretty clearly picking the Nightbird's Clutches, a staple of red-black aggro, and a card that works remarkably well with Kessig Wolves and high power creatures in general. So this possibly wheel this Bump in the Night. There's actually still plenty of, well, not a ton, but I think there's probably a chance that we wheel this Bump in the Night. These kind of cards are just not picked very highly at all. So Nightbird's Clutches is very good there. Alright, here just going to pick up another Crossway Vamp. Nothing else of super interest for us here. Inquisitor's Flail would be very good with our Village Ironsmith. And let me read this. Would deal combat damage. So it doesn't work with Ashmouth Hound's triggered ability, but Kessig Wolf too would be very good with Inquisitor's Flail. So both of those would be good, but Crossway Vampire is too important for the strategy to pass for an Inquisitor's Flail, in my opinion. These in multiples are just fine in this style of deck too. Here I'm going to pick up the Trader's Blood over the Typhoid Rats. I'm going to be perfectly content with that too. Trader's Blood is just a remarkable card in general, and when you're tempo based, it's just an awesome finisher. So Trader's Blood over the Rats there. We're getting filled up pretty good in our 3 drops. Let's hide this curse because I'm not going to be main decking that at this point. Another Crossway Vamp is fine. This card is amazing in multiples, so being able to just back-to-back playing these Crossway Vamps. Looks like we're going to be... this deck has no room for splashes, it appears, just because of we've already got a lot of double red, and just our black is double black, a lot of it already too, so something I need to be aware of, keeping in mind. But I'm fine with picking up these Crossway Vamps now. Alright, we wheel the Rotting Fen Snake, which I think I could easily play in this deck. Of all these cards, what's the most annoying for me to go up against? Probably the Fortress Crab, I could see being the most annoying. So, Purebloods is pretty annoying against us too, but Fortress Crab comes down a little bit faster, and something we don't want our opponents to have access to. We'll pick up a Bump in the Night. Never really thrilled with playing that card, but it's easily playable. I guess I already have 1 Vampiric Fury. How many vampires do I even have? Interloper, and then 3 Crossway Vamps. I suppose it's probably more likely that I would play the Vampiric Fury. Brainweevil over Sensory Deprivation. This isn't a Brainweevil deck. I don't really see it. So I'd rather get rid of the Sensory Deprivation, which is actually a really good sideboard option against us. Curse of Oblivion. Yeah, might need that against the random spider spawning deck. Alright, we're still on the right track. I mean, at least this time I'm in an archetype, and I'm not 4-color, and I have good cards for my archetype. I have plenty of removal. And what do you know? We open a Bloodline Keeper. So that's amazing for us. That's going to help us tremendously. We're going to hope to wheel, what, something good. I could easily play Harvest Pyre in this deck. Anything else I'm hoping to wheel? I don't think there's any chance we're wheeling the Moan of the Unhallowed, especially since I feel like we've been cut off in black a little bit already too. But, I mean, I suppose Bump in the Night will possibly wheel. Nothing else of real interest for us. So, obviously we're picking the Bloodline Keeper there. Really, really lucky to have gotten that. Here I think I'm picking up another Ashmouth Hound. I would prefer to play Ashmouth. These are really good pressure early, and I would prefer to play the Ashmouth Hounds over the Village Ironsmith. Let me make sure there's nothing else for us in this pack. I mean, another Trader's Blood would actually be fine too, but it's probably a better chance that I just wheel this over the Ashmouth Hound. So I think I am just going to get the creature here. Markov Patrician is good too. Perfectly fine for this archetype, but I'd rather fill up some more 2-drops. Being able to consistently put pressure down on turn 2 is very good. And considering how many creatures these things just completely bypass, I think it's going to be the right choice. Alright, Rolling Timblor is got to be the most annoying against us, but Moan of the Unhallowed, the power level on Moan of the Unhallowed is too high, where I don't feel comfortable passing that. Pitchburn Devils is fine too. Tormented Pariah is fine for this deck, but I mean, not great, but fine. I'm going to pick the Moan, which just has the highest power level for me. Wow, Brimstone Volley. Alright, well, don't like passing the Interloper because I would really like to pick that up, but we're going to pick up the Brimstone Volley, and I'm not complaining about that in any way, so don't read me wrong. Not complaining about getting a Brimstone Volley. Alright, well, I really like that we've got all these good options. Patrician would be fine now. Abattoir Ghoul is very, very good, and Rage Thrower is a good finisher. I'm kind of feeling the Rage Thrower, to be honest. Just this is the deck where if you land this on turn 6 and you have enough of a board presence, it can be just game over if you've done enough damage early, you know. So I think I am going to pick the Rage Thrower. I feel like we have enough 3-drops already, and Abattoir Ghoul is probably unnecessary. It's fine. It's very good, actually. But I think I want the Rage Thrower just because I'd like to get another finisher that can go alongside our Bloodline Keeper. And we actually have, the nice thing is we have enough Vamps where I could very easily see us activating this Bloodline Keeper and getting it online fast, so that's kind of cool. We have enough creatures where I feel comfortable picking a second Nightbird's Clutches. Do I think we could run that? I'd probably run it over the Bump in the Night, honestly. Bump in the Night for me, even though it's a good, you know, or at least a reasonable finisher, I think I want something more along the lines of Nightbird's Clutches. I believe. Corpse Lunge, I'm just never impressed with, and I have enough good removal where I don't really care about Corpse Lunge. So I think I am picking up a second Nightbird's Clutches. I'm not going to regret that either. Nightbird's Clutches is always solid for this archetype. Alright, another Kessig Wolf. Otherwise Night Revelers. But I mean, Night Revelers is fine, and it's a vampire. Do I have enough 3-drops already? Possibly. I mean, I have a decent amount of in-game already, too, honestly. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the Kessig Wolf. It is a lot of 3-drops, but when you have double Nightbird's Clutches, just getting a ton of cheap 3-power creatures is just the best idea, in my opinion. Alright, well, here I'm going to pick up the Night Revelers over the Ridgewolf and the Ironsmith. Neither of these are interesting enough where I think I need another 2 or 3-drop. They're not good enough, I think, where I need to run them, and Night Revelers it fills out our curve pretty well, I would say. It's either that or Strom Curve Patrol, but I think I actually like the Revelers more. That's a pretty relevant ability, actually. Alright, a Bump in the Night or a third Nightbirds. I don't think I feel comfortable playing a third Nightbird's Clutches. How likely is it that I'm going to play the Bump in the Night? I'm not actually sure right now. We have enough solid playables where I'm not even sure I'm going to be wanting the Bump in the Nights. But a third Nightbird's Clutches is just totally unrealistic, so I guess I'll get the Bump in the Night. Alright, here's a choice. A Markov Patrician or another Traitorous Blood. Wow, that's actually kind of a tough choice for me. I feel like Traitorous Blood, considering the amount of pressure I can put on early, I think I would prefer that over the Patrician. I feel like I have enough 3-drop creatures now, too. I'm just rolling in creatures. So a second Traitorous Blood, I don't have any problem with that. Hey, let's pick up the Altar's Reap. That happens to go remarkably well with the Traitor's Blood, and I could see it being good in other ways, too, with some of these other creatures. So, Altar's Reap is sweet. Black-red, usually in need of card advantage. I suppose I'll get Nightbird's Clutches. I'm not playing 3 of them. We'll take the rare. We're not gonna. This is not a Heartless Summoning deck at all, but we'll take it. Alright, Spare from Evil. Alright, well, I'm gonna build a deck out of this, and what do you know? I'm glad that we ended up with a really good pool this time. This makes up for how lousy my pool ended up in my last draft. So really happy that we opened that Bloodline Keeper. That really did work out perfectly for us. We have a very solid deck here. So I'll build something and be right back. Okay, so this is what I built. I actually had to cut some cards that I was surprised that I just don't have the space to play. I'm trying to get my curve like perfect here. It's proven to be a little more difficult than I thought. The reason being, if you look at my black spells, most of them are double black. I don't have many of them, but the ones I do have are like double black requirement. So that made my mana base just a little bit weirder, because I mean a lot of my 3-drop and 4-drop, like just a lot of my red spells are double red too. So it's proving to be a little bit difficult in terms of, like, I can see that being a problem. I can see having the double color on the turn that I want it being a problem. I mean, the nice thing is, I guess Victim doesn't necessarily need to be played super early, but I guess I would just like to be able to play it super early. I decided to cut one of the Nightbird's clutches. I only have 14 creatures. I had 17 with all of my red-black creatures in, but I'm not going to be playing. I cut an Ironsmith. I cut one of my 3 Kessig Wolves. I mean, maybe that was a problem. I cut the Rotting Fen Snake. I just felt like between Deadweight, double Brimstone Volley, double Victim of Night, I've got like a ton of removal already. So I cut one of the Traitorous Bloods. I like I said, cut a Nightbird's Clutches. I have 3 of them, which is ridiculous. I couldn't find space for the Altar's Reap. I've got a pretty good balance of, actually I would say a very good balance of removal and good creatures right now. So I think I like where this is at. I mean, look at the amount of removal I've got. The Deadweight, double Victim, double Brimstone Volley, and the Into the Maw of Hell, plus the Cultist and Pitchburn Devil. So this deck is a very, very strong red-black aggro deck. I'm not going to be playing the Bump in the Nights just because I don't really like the spell. I mean, I think it's good, especially when you're tempo-based like I am, but I feel like this is going to be a more resilient sort of red-black aggro build. The cards in it are just solid all around. I can see this just landing creature after creature and being really strong. So I like the way that this turned out. I believe that this is the style of red-black aggro that could very easily win a draft. But, you know, obviously there's a significant luck factor to the game, so we'll see how my draws are. But I'd like to succeed with this deck. I think that this has got enough good tools in it where it could very easily win a draft. So I'll see you round 1, and yeah, I hope that this performs well.